Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me on this last broadcast of the semester. Once again, my name is Deborah Slade. I'm the Assistant Director for Outreach in the Financial Aid Office. And tonight is actually all about our continuing students. So we're going to be going over some things that are probably not as relevant to brand new students, except maybe transfer students who are coming in the spring semester. But tonight is pretty much all about our continuing students. So I want to make sure that we are um, covering all of the things that you want to know about. One of the things that we really want you to make sure that you're aware of are the disbursements and the um, refund issues, because we know that's a big issue for you guys. You want to make sure we want to make sure that you are that you know exactly what's going on. That you okay, I'm gonna have to mute myself here for just a second. Hang on a second, I'm too loud. Okay, all right. So we want to make sure that you know exactly what you are facing, how you can make sure you're getting all of the information that you need, and that you are, getting ready to, as you get ready to go into the semester, that you have what you need to do, that you can do what you need, get get everything done. So let me see if I can get to the comment section here, so I can, yeah, there we go. All right, so I can talk to you and figure out exactly what you need to know here. All right, so I'm going to be sharing my screen so that we can get some information out to you. So let me grab that real quick. All righty. Yeah, this is a new, not new, but there are some things that we need to make sure we're going over and make sure that you're ready for the start of the spring semester. Um, all right, so let's do that. And once again, I'm going to take my video out of here so that you can focus on the screen and not on me. You can focus on the information that's being shared with you, and you can see exactly what you need to see. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Well, first of all, um, winter's coming is the name of this. So this is all about winter session classes, spring semester disbursement and refunds, and just what you need to do to make sure you're ready for all of that. And I am seriously trying to get to this comment section so I can see if you have any questions. And once again, I'm manning this by myself tonight, so y'all have to bear with me if I flake out on you a little bit. So anyway, um, so let's talk about winter session classes. So what's going on with winter session classes? Well, winter session classes begin December 14th. So you want to make sure that you are ready for that, that you have your classes all set up, that you are ready to get started. So I wanted to just kind of go over some of the things that you will most likely encounter as you get ready for the winter session classes. As I said, they start December 14th. So how does financial aid factor into winter classes? Well, good news and bad news. Let's start with the bad news. First, well, there's no separate winter financial aid award. There is no separate winter session disbursement, and there is no separate winter session refund. Okay. But there's also good news. There's no winter session bill to pay. So yeah, that's kind of good news, because you don't have to worry about trying to pay a bill. That's gonna trip you up, and you're like, what? I've got spring classes coming up. What do I do about that? Well, winter session is considered a part of term for spring classes, and I know that's kind of Maybe a little confusing. But think of it this way, they're modules. You know, remember in fall semester, there were classes that started in August that ended in October, and then there were classes that started in October that are ending now. So those are called modules or part of term classes. So winter is a part of term class for the spring semester. It's tacked on to the beginning, you know, to be right before spring. But when you register for classes during winter session, those classes are included in your spring hours and in your spring enrollment. So, and they count towards your spring enrollment. They're also billed on your student bill for spring semester. So that's why you don't have a bill now to pay for winter classes, because that gets rolled into your spring bill, which, by the way, you should be receiving those pretty soon. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as I go through. I hope I don't forget that. If you're watching and you have a question about the spring bill, pop it in the comments section. I'll try to make sure I answer that for you. But that also means that your winter session courses are covered by financial aid. If you have financial aid, it's covered by your spring aid. So you don't have to worry about, you know, trying to figure out how to pay for those classes because they are covered, as I said, by your spring aid. So that's that's the good news. That's good news. That's a good thing about that. So then you ask, well, what about books? If you don't get a refund for the winter session classes, you don't get any financial aid, what about books? Well, you can sign up for bookstore bucks, and they are, you know, you can add that to your account now. You may not see it actually on your bill for a bit. It may not be on there right away. It may take a week or so for those charges to show up, but they're there. The other thing that you can, and some of you, when you get your bill, or if you looked at your bill on your student account center, you may have noticed that there was a charge on there for first day, and you're like, well, what in the world is that? Why are they charging me? What is this first day thing? Well, there are some courses that are in a program that have been put into a pilot program that have reduced costs for the resources for those classes. And they will be available to you on the very first day of classes. And when Canvas opens up, you should be able to access those resources right then and there. And they're a lot cheaper. Now, if you don't want it, you can opt out. Now, again, this is not a financial aid thing. You can go to the bookstore's website and click on the link. If you go to that homepage, there's a link on their homepage for first day. And at the they also, if you read through the information, they have a listing of the classes that are in the first day program. And in that list, they also list how much the resources are for that class under the first day program and how much you would pay if you opt out, if you had to buy the resources, outside of first day. So it's a really good comparison. I encourage you to go and look at it. If you have questions about how to opt out, there's contact information on the website. They have, customer service information there. You can also check with the bookstore. They'll be glad to help you and make sure you get your answers to that. So that's how you can, make sure that you have books, bookstore bucks, or if you're registered for one of the classes that's a part of the first day pilot program, then those first day resources have been added to your charges. So, all right, so cool. So that's how you handle books for winter session. Remember, we're talking about winter session now, okay? So now what about refunds? Well, let's talk about the bill first, because this is something you really got to do before we can even get to the refund part. Got to make sure that your payment is taken care of. So you should be getting your billing notification now, today and tomorrow. And they've been corrected. So those of you who may have gotten some billing information, it wasn't quite correct. There were some things that had to be added. So they worked really hard to get that updated. So you should have an accurate and bill right now. So you can check that out on the Student Account Center. So that payment is due by December 16th. So for all students who registered up through the 17th, which was this week, your bill is due by December 16th. So what does that mean? Well, that means you either have to have financial aid in place, you can set up a payment plan. If you have outside resources sufficient to cover your bill, that will work. You can make a payment out of pocket, to pay it off, or you can use any combination of those items: financial aid, payment plan, outside resources, pay out of pocket, all of those things, put together. You can piece together your payment plan or your payment arrangements, and that is what you'll need to have in place by December 16th. So if you're receiving financial aid and you look at your bill, you should see your pending financial aid listed on your in your student account center, how much you can expect. And that should, you can see whether or not you have any amount due. If you have a balance due, it'll say balance due. If you don't have a balance due, if you're getting a refund, it'll say it'll be a negative number. And we'll talk a little bit, I'm going to get more into that in a bit. But you want to make sure that you, if you don't, if you still have a balance due and, you're still piecing together things, you have until December 16th to make sure you get all of that stuff pieced together so that your classes can be confirmed or your registration can be confirmed. Okay. So now let's talk about the real refund. So I'm done with winter, unless you have more questions. So now we're moving into the spring disbursement cycle and the refund cycle. So we said you had to have your bill paid by, or your bill covered by the 16th of December. Now, if you're a transfer student and you're coming in spring semester and you haven't registered yet, don't panic. You have a different billing requirement. So you don't have a bill yet. You won't get a bill until you actually register for classes. So don't panic. Didn't mean to scare you. But we're going to start the disbursement process, and disbursement means that financial aid payments will start to hit your student bill on Saturday, January 9th, 2021. So that means, yes, we typically don't work on Saturdays, but we work on Saturdays when it comes down to making sure that the disbursement happens and that we need to do what needs to be done in order to get the funds onto your account. The reason that it's on January 9th is because disbursements cannot happen any earlier than 10 days prior to the first day of classes. So that is the earliest that we can do it. It's 10 days before classes start. Spring classes begin on January 19th. So that's we'll be making sure that that happens for you. And just as because of the difference in the scheduling, remember you got an email that let you know that the start of spring classes have been pushed back a week. That also means that we had to push back our disbursement again, because we can't disperse aid any earlier than 10 days before the beginning of classes. That means that we had to push back the first disbursement for spring semester. Now, don't panic. That doesn't mean that you're going to get any less money. It just means that you're going to have to wait one week. It's actually a week's difference in that, getting that paid. But as long as your aid is sufficient to cover your bill, you won't have to pay anything out of pocket, so you don't need to panic. All right. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is verify that your registration is confirmed for spring. And that just simply means making sure that your payment arrangements are in place. Maybe a little early for that right now. I can't remember the confirmation schedule. I should have checked that out before I came on, but you can check that out again in log into Genie, click on the student tab, select the payment confirmation link, and then put in the term for spring semester 2021 and hit submit, and you will see what it'll tell you: payment payment confirmed, registration confirmed. You have a green light. If you have a red light, then that means that something's missing or something hasn't been done. Could be just the process hasn't run yet. So go back through everything, make sure that you have don't want to go to that one yet. Make sure that you have accepted enough aid to cover your bill. Make sure that you've, any holds that you might have on your account have been taken care of. Just double check your requirements. Make sure you've got everything lined up and that you are, that everything is ready to go. All right, so now let's go to this. So one of the things that you, as we get into the spring disbursement cycle, there's some things that you need to keep in mind. Spring, and not just spring, but all financial aid is dispersed on attending hours. And this can be a little bit confusing, so hear me out. All right, so you register for your spring classes. You say, well, I'm in 12 hours. Okay, that's fine. But if 6 of your hours start in March, then that means that you may not get all of your aid dispersed at that time, because you're not full-time and you would not be eligible for the full amount at that point. If you have classes that don't start until March, so let's say you're in 6 hours and you say, well, I'm half-time, like I'm supposed to be to get my loan. But if your classes don't start until March, we can't pay your funds until your classes actually begin. So that's what it means about attending hours. Your aid gets paid on the hours that you're actually attending at that point. And then at the point that you're in those classes, that's when your aid can be dispersed. So I know that can be a bit confusing. And I apologize for that. I'm sorry. I don't know any other way to make that any clearer. But just remember that. So go back, look at your registration, look at the begin dates for your classes. If all of your classes start on January 19th, you're good to go. Okay. Or if you're an undergraduate student and you have 12 credit hours that are starting on January 19th, but you have 3 that's starting in March, you're good to go. As long as those 12 hours are not repeat courses. So we're going to talk about that too. I know there are a lot of ifs and it depends and what ifs and all of that. So yeah, this can be a little confusing. So that's why we wanted to do this session, because we know you have lots of questions and we know that it's been a little different accessing information, getting into the financial aid office, having access to our counselors. So we thought these videos would be a good way to get information out to you. You could come back and look at them at your leisure. So if you have questions about that, put it in the comments. We'll make sure we try to address those for you. So just know that if you don't have a disbursement on January 9th, if you look on your bill and there's no money on there, then that means that something is holding up your aid. And it could be that, there's some missing requirements. It could be that you are in part of term classes that don't start until March, and that's going to delay your disbursement and subsequently delay your refund. The other thing too, you want to make sure that you have enough aid to cover your charges. Because if you don't have enough aid to cover your bill and your registration is not confirmed, then you can't get it. We won't disperse the aid. Make sure that you're in the right amount of hours to get a disbursement. And here's the other thing. I talked a little bit about repeat classes. So you have to be at least half-time for most aid. This means, and I'm going to use a Pell Grant for in student loans as an example, because there are lots of other things that I could use, but this is probably the most common. So to get a federal student loan, you must be enrolled at least half-time. So if you're an undergraduate student, that means you must be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. If you are a graduate student, that means you have to be in at least 4.5 credit hours that are 500 level or more in order to get a student loan. Pell Grant's a little different for undergraduate students. There are situations where you could get a Pell disbursement if you're not at least half-time. Those are, on an individual basis, but typically, we're going to just use a typical scenario. So typically, you had to be half-time. So if you are in 12 credit hours, you say, well, I'm full-time, why am I not getting any aid or what's going on? Well, if 9 of those hours are repeat courses, if you've already gotten credit for a course and you're taking it again, you can't get financial aid again for that class. So that's what we call a repeat class. So be careful about that. Look at your registration, make sure, especially if you're transferring in, we try to notify you, we try to do that, but sometimes things slip through. So make sure that you're not repeating a class that you've either gotten credit for through transfer credits or by passing the class. Now, passing a class for financial aid purposes means you have a D. If you got a D and you're taking it over, it's a repeat class. And you may need to take it again to get a higher grade for your, if it's a core class for your major, you may need to do that. Just know that financial aid won't pay for a class that you've already that you've already earned credit for. So this could be the issue. Going back to the attending hours, if you have, remember I said if you have 6 hours starting on January 19th and 6 hours starting on March, whatever that date is, I don't know, March 14th, we're just going to pick that out. Then you may get a partial disbursement. You may not get a full disbursement, especially if you're receiving a Pell Grant or a state grant. So those are prorated based on the actual number of hours that you're enrolled in. So the Pell Grant will pay based on, again, based on the attending hours. So if you're full-time, but you're only half of those hours start later, then part of the Pell will pay and the other part will pay later when those classes begin. And while I'm on that, I know that I've seen this question frequently in our inbox and as students are coming in. As you look at your award letter, the amount of the aid that's originally offered to you is based on full-time enrollment. So that represents what you would get if you were enrolled full-time. If you're not enrolled full-time, you won't get the full amount of the aid. So again, speaking of Pell Grants and state grants, they will be prorated based on the actual amount of hours that you're registered for that semester. So that means you will get a reduced amount. So if you're only taking 6 hours and they start on January 19th, let's just use that straight up. On January 19th, you will get a prorated disbursement of Pell Grant and state grant. Okay, that's if you're eligible. And not everybody's getting Pell Grant and state grant. If you're eligible and you were offered that on your aid award, on your financial aid award. So just keep that in mind, because I know that it can be confusing when the financial aid award says that you're getting $2,000 and you end up only getting 1,000, and you're like, well, what happened? You said I was getting 2,000. Well, that's if you were full-time. So just keep that in mind, because that is one of the things that can be very confusing. So if you're basing your budget or you're basing your payments on the full amount of aid, make sure you are full-time so that you will be able to get the full disbursement of that aid. Okay. All right. I think I've pretty much done that one. Okay. So now we're talking about refunds. So refunds are issued or generated when your financial aid is greater than the charges on your student account. And trust me, I'm not trying to be funny. Okay. I am not trying to be, I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody or talk down to anyone. But I do, get questions sometimes, and that students want to know, am I getting a refund? Well, if you owe a balance, if you have to pay the university money, then you will not be getting a refund unless aid comes in later after you've paid your bill. Then you would get a refund for the amount of the aid that came in. But on January 19th or January 9th, when we start our disbursement process, if you have a zero balance, if you had to pay to make sure that you had a zero balance, and you would probably not get a refund. Now, remember, you can look at your student account center information now. You can see the pending financial aid. You can see the amount of your charges. And if your financial aid is more than your charges, then you will be getting the difference of that as a refund. Okay. So most of the time that's a negative number. So the negative number is a good thing. If you have a negative number on your student account, that is a good thing. That is a refund that's coming back to you. That's not what you have to pay. If it's a positive number, then that it's you positively have to pay that to the cashier's office. Okay. Um, and I won't go into the payment methods. You can look on their website, or it will be included in the billing notification and how you can make your payments. So as I said before, we will start the disbursement process on Saturday, January 9th, and the refund process will start on that following Monday, January 11th. Okay, so that's the week before classes start. The cashier's office will start that process. Now, let me make sure you understand this. When we say disbursement to your student account on January 9th, that is not your personal bank account. That is your student account center bill that's in the student account center. Is where those funds will be applied to your charges. The cashier's office will assess those charges, and they will start the process of calculating how much of the how much your refund should be, and they will start that process to generate the refunds for you starting on Monday, the 11th. You will not have a refund in your bank account or in your mailbox on January 11th. You should have it by January 16th, which is that following Saturday, by the end of the week. And we say that because usually the first refund of the semester is huge, and it takes a few days to make sure that, all of the numbers are correct, the addresses are correct, the bank account, so all of that is matching up. So be patient. I know I've seen, emails and social media comments on, where's my refund? Where's my refund? Well, the refund process starts after the disbursement is made, and it's typically a week. So you just count a week. A week after we say we're starting disbursement is when you should see your refund. Now that starts on January 9th, and then each week after that, we'll run disbursement. We'll pay the funds to your student bill. The cashier's office the next week will do the refund. So you could just that's how the cycle works. It starts on we'll at the beginning of the semester we're usually running disbursement frequently, and then the following Monday, the cashier's office processes refunds for the disbursements that we made the previous week, and you should get it before the end of the week. So this means that the first refunds should be in your either in your mailbox or in your bank account by January 16th. If it's not, if you don't see a disbursement, if you don't have a refund, there could be a couple things going on. It could be that maybe some of the funds that you were expecting have not arrived yet. If you have private scholarships that are coming in and maybe those funds haven't come yet, and that's and they're going to create part of that refund. If you're getting student loans and you haven't created or finished your loan documents, if you haven't done your entrance counseling or your master promissory note, if your parents are getting the PLUS loan and they haven't completed their master promissory note or completed the application process, all of these things can delay the refund or make it less than you expected. So check those things before you panic, okay? So make sure that your mailing address is updated on Genie. Now this is important because this is how the process starts. Now this is a cashier's process, but I'm going to go through it with you. It starts with a mailing, or as if they were going to cut a check and mail it to you. So that's the beginning of the process. So you must make sure that your mailing address is correct in Genie, that you have an active, valid mailing address in there. Because if you don't have direct deposit, that's where your check is going to go. So make sure if you moved, or if you're in the process of moving, make sure you've updated your address. You have some time to do that. You don't have to, do it now while it's on your mind. But if you know that you're going to be moving at the end of December, then after you've moved and you can do that. I would say get it done before we disperse, before January 9th. And that makes sure you have plenty of time to get your information up to date. Double check your bank account information if you have it set up in your student account center to get an e-refund or electronic refund, make sure that your bank account information is set up and it's correct. If you've changed banks or if you've changed accounts, you want to go back and make sure that you've updated that information, because if it's not, it will kick it back and that will delay it because they'll have to redo it. And most of the time they'll, if the bank account information isn't correct and it kicks back, then they have to mail you a check. So you could be waiting another couple of weeks for that. So make sure that that information is accurate and correct. I knew there was something else I was going to talk about in this. Now it's left me. I think I've hit everything on the bank account and the refunds. Okay. All right. So who do you call? I will not finish that sentence. Yeah, you could probably read the little bubble over my head. If you have questions about your academic status, your academic standing, or advising questions, call students first. They are ready to help you with that. In fact, I think they have some open hours, some drop-in hours this week. Check out their website, check out their email, give them a call, figure out what you need to do. They're more than happy to help you. They can help you with making sure that your courses are selected correctly. If you're having to do any type of appeal for financial aid, they can help you with your success plan, your graduation plan. So make sure you check in with them if you have to do the appeal. You have to do that before any aid can be re-awarded for you. You have to do the appeal and it has to be approved. So if you find yourself in that situation, get that done as quickly as possible. If you have questions about your bill or how to make payments, the cashier's and student accounts office is where you would go for that information. Again, I've listed their website. You can find out information about the payment plan, about making payments, when your payments are due. And all of that information is going to be included in your billing notification. They'll have include that in there as well. And you can give them, you either email them or give them a call. Of course, if you have financial aid questions, you call us, financial aid office, fia.uncg.edu, email finaid@uncg.edu, and then of course our phone calls. Now our phones are open 9 to 4. If you need to come by and visit us, we have to make an appointment. Okay, you have to make an appointment. We don't have any, we're not doing drop-ins. And the appointment can be either virtual or face-to-face, whatever you're more comfortable with. So log into Starfish and you can find us there and you see the appointment schedules there. If you have questions about housing, your dorm room, your meal plan, any of those kinds of things, moving in, those kinds of things, contact Housing and Residence Life. You can either send them an email or call them. A lot of the information that you're probably looking for are on the websites of all of the offices, and that might be a big help to you. And that way you don't have to call them. If you have questions about registration, if you have any problems accessing the registration, or call the registrar's office. They will be able to help you with that and making sure that you can get through all of those things. Now, one of the things I didn't talk much about on this one was the student health insurance and immunization requirements. So if you have questions about the student health insurance or immunization, and this immunization is typically going to be for newer students who are going to be just starting in the spring semester, you have to have your immunization records submitted to the Student Health Services office no later than 30 days after you register for classes. So you've got to get that done. You cannot wait on that because they will drop you if you don't turn those documents in. So contact them to find out what you need to do. For student health insurance, now a lot of you waived your health insurance because you have your own coverage, and you did that back in the fall. And you may be asking, well, why am I seeing the charge on my bill again? I did that in the fall semester. Well, there is an option for you to select both terms. Oops, sorry, hit my microphone there. Select both terms. If you did not, you will have to go back and waive it again. Just enter your insurance information, go back to the Student Blue portal and do that. You need to go ahead and do that before December 16th if you want to make sure that those charges are off your account. or do it be, so that when that, if that's what's preventing your bill from being paid, and you have insurance and you're like, well, why, I have enough, but I'm being charged insurance. So make sure you do that. If you have not yet waived it, if you didn't waive it for fall and you need to, then go ahead and do it. Go ahead and waive it. You have time to do that. I don't remember the deadline, but the deadline is sometime in January. So you've got to make sure you do that, because if you don't, then that means you're going to pay for that coverage. So you want to make sure that you do that. If you have questions, give them a call, go to their website. All of the information is on their website. It's laid out very well for you. So you should be able to see everything there and get all of your questions answered. Yeah, I was going to do just about a 30-minute session tonight. Didn't want to go too long because sometimes too much information is not good. But I'm going to leave this up for just a bit more, just so you can grab that information if you need to reach out to any of those offices for assistance on your for your spring semester. And just want to congratulate you. You guys have done an amazing job of sticking it out through the semester, hanging tough, being really diligent about, you wash, wear, and wait. And we're just really so happy that you're almost there. You just got one more week to go, not even a whole week now before the end of the semester, and then the break starts. You have your exams, and I'm pretty sure I'm not talking to any students who are graduating in December, but just on the off chance, congratulations. My fellow Spartans, my fellow alums. I'm an alum, so I'm a little bit partial. So wonderful to have you join the alumni family. Congratulations. And again, if you have questions about any of the stuff that's going on here, any of the things that we've posted here, I just want you to make sure you reach out so that we can get you taken care of. So I'm going to stop the screen share and get back to my roots here. And I don't see any questions coming in the comments. Oh, I do have one comment. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I do want to, if you didn't get a chance to get your friends and neighbors to watch live, the videos are here. They're posted also on our YouTube page. So they're here for you to come back and look at your leisure if you missed anything. And we just want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need. So if I didn't answer everything, shoot an email to finaid@uncg.edu. And this is our last broadcast for the fall semester. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a hiatus, maybe, I don't know, it just depends. We may come back with something later, but for right now, this is the last plan one that we had. And we'll try to do something similar in the fall, I'm sorry, in the spring semester, coming back to maybe help with FAFSA filing. So I do want to, I almost forgot. I do want to remind you that the FAFSA is open for next academic year. So if you're going to be returning in fall 2021, the FAFSA for the 2021-2022 academic year is open right now. The priority filing period is October 1 through January 15th. So you got a little bit extra time. So you can focus on your exams, get those out of the way. And then while you're kind of hanging out, over the long winter break, go ahead and get the FAFSA done. Get it done. You have until the 15th. And then for all you continuing students, on the 15th, the Spartan Scholarship Portal opens up. So Spartans, the S3, the Spartan Scholarship System Portal opens up on January 15th. And we'll be sending out some information next week to give you more of a heads up on that. And then we'll send you out some more information as we get closer to the opening date, just so you don't forget. So put that on your calendar, January 15th, FAFSA filing, into the FAFSA filing priority period for UNCG. and the opening date for the S3 scholarship portal. Now that portal is your scholarship application for institutional funds, also for a lot of the departmental funds. So many of the departments have their scholarship information listed in there, and the portal is going to do pretty much all of the work for you. There'll be a basic application that you complete. There may be an additional application depending on your major, but it will match you with all of the scholarships that you're eligible for based on your major and you know the other information that you enter. So it's not a lot of work, but we do encourage you to do it. It will get you one step closer to not having to take out so many loans, maybe. But we do want to encourage you to do that. So that's going to be open from January 15th through March 1. So make sure you get it done. All right. So I have hopefully covered everything. Again, if you have any questions, we're looking forward to hearing from you. And again, congratulations on doing a great job this semester. Hope all of you guys have a 4.0 and have a wonderful, safe winter break. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.